My name is Taren Blanchette, and I have an 8-month-old son. And when I was pregnant, I read a sleep training book called 12 Hours Sleep by 12 Weeks Old. And a friend of mine actually told me about it, and I'm so thankful that she did because it totally worked, and my son was sleeping through the night. By about 9.5 weeks old, he was sleeping a full 12 hours at night. And I was so thankful for this book, to be honest. I know that there are some that have said that it didn't work for them or that it did, but I just kind of wanted to share kind of a book review on my opinions of the book, and really, you know, maybe if you're expecting and you don't have time to read the book, or maybe you have a baby and you're so busy you don't have time to read the book either. So I just kind of wanted to go ahead and share basically what the book is all about and how you can get your baby to be sleeping through the night as well. So here he is. This is Camden. He just woke up from his nap, so he's looking a little tired. You're still a little tired, huh? You haven't woken up yet. But he really loved being on the schedule. I feel like it's made him a happier baby to kind of know what's coming next in his day, and I feel like it made it easier for my husband and I too. So, you know, we know if he's fussing, like, okay, he just ate, so he can't be hungry, or he just napped, so maybe he's not tired. It kind of helped us kind of know what he needed too, and made it easier for us. Yeah, right, yeah. But we loved the book. It worked for us, and I'm so glad that we did it. Right, Cam? Right. So here's the book, 12 Hours Sleep by 12 Weeks Old. I did pick up a hard copy and read it front to back while I was pregnant and took notes. And literally I pretty much just followed everything in the book. Not exactly. There were a few things that I didn't really do and I kind of loosely followed, or you know, didn't follow exactly to the book. So most of it I did though, and it really did pay off. And yeah, it was kind of hard to get him on a schedule, but I think it's been so worth it because it's kind of given me the personal freedom of knowing, you know, when he needed to eat instead of feeding on demand, which is totally fine. This is just what worked for us. So basically, sleep training does not begin until your newborn is at least 6 weeks old, and in that time, before that, she says in the book to just kind of take it easy and have no bad habits. Also, during weeks 1 through 6, she says to go ahead and create like a feeding log so that you can keep track of how much your baby is eating and what time, so that way you know how long it's been since your baby's eaten and all that good stuff. I used an app on my phone called Mama Baby, and I loved it. It made it so easy, whether you're breastfeeding or not. And just some overall rules that she says in the book that really help out are, you know, if your baby's fussy, to not put him in the swing or vibrating bouncer every time they're fussy, because then that basically teaches the baby that they need that vibrating bouncer or they need that swing to be able to calm down. She's very about self-soothing and for baby to kind of figure it out on their own, with the parent just kind of helping the baby along the way and not fixing the problem for the baby, but helping helping baby get through the problem. Also, she uses a limited crying solution where she recommends not letting your baby cry for more than 5 minutes in the crib at a time, which I really liked because it is hard to hear a crying baby and to not go in. I know there are different methods out there, but this is just the one that she uses and recommends. So she says babies who are the right age and the right weight should be able to sleep 12 hours a night, and followed with a 1-hour nap in the morning and a 2-hour nap in the afternoon. And I was actually able to get Camden on that schedule, really with the napping after about 3 to 4 months maybe. That one kind of took a while, but the sleeping through the night, as soon as I got him on a regular feeding schedule, during the day, he started sleeping longer stretches at night, and by 9.5 weeks was sleeping the full 12 hours a night. So basically for feedings for week 1 through 6 for your newborn, she recommends feeding every 2.5 to 3 hours and not more frequently, because eventually you're going to be stretching it to every 4 hours during the day. to help baby sleep through the night, so just to not go more frequently. So that's what we did. We just fed every 2.5 to 3 hours and eventually stretched it out to every 4. And during this time too, she always says to let baby eat as much as he wants. She says for night feedings from week 1 to 6, to naturally wake baby up every 3 hours to eat. Like I said, once Camden gained back his birth weight, we did not do that, and we just let him stretch the time at night on his own. And she always says too at night, you know, to first check if baby, you know, if baby's fussing, to check if he's too hot, too cold, is he uncomfortable, does he need a diaper change before, you know, just automatically feeding him. She says also weeks 6 to 8, that's really when the sleep training officially kind of starts, is around 6 to 8 weeks. But she says that a lot of babies will go through a fussy time period of between ages weeks 6 to 8, sometimes weeks 3 to 4, where they will have bad gas, tummy upset, red face, piercing cry, things like that. And that is where gripe water really helped out so much. We used gripe water, and she recommends it in the book. I know that some pediatricians don't recommend it just because it's not regulated by the FDA, but we used it, loved it, and I swear it was like magic, and it helped every time. There's also in the book that by week 6 they should be eating every 3 hours and not every 2.5. And at night after 6 weeks to just let baby sleep until he wakes up and is hungry. And then at week 8, that's really when the sleep training officially kind of begins. So at week 8, the first step is to divide baby's feeding schedule during the day to every 4 hours. And how she explains to do that is to go ahead and divide your day on a schedule that you would like to set for baby, kind of what's best for you at home. We went with the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. schedule. So we set it to his first meal of the day, 8 a.m., then 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. So 4 times a day, every 4 hours. And that's just kind of worked best for us and our personal schedule. However, she does say if your baby is older, even, you know, several months old, a couple years old, I think even, you can still do some of the sleep training methods to get your baby to sleep through the night. So it can be done, it just might be a little more challenging to get them out of their old routine and into a new schedule. So the things that helped us stretch Camden from eating every 3 to 3.5 hours to every 4 hours was what she calls her daytime toolbox, which is offering a pacifier, basically just distracting your baby any way possible to help him stretch just even a few minutes. There were some days that we only made it 5 extra minutes past, you know, the 3-hour mark. So I just saw it as each day is progress and will eventually slowly stretch to every 4 hours, and he did it, and then it totally worked and he did great. Other things that we did is just walking him around, showing him, you know, new sights, taking him outside, taking him a walk in the stroller, bouncing him on my knee and singing. I mean, literally just anything to distract him, just to wait a few extra minutes each feeding to stretch towards the 4-hour mark. Also, she has a nighttime toolbox for at night if baby is waking a little bit too early, to kind of help him stretch it out a little bit longer at night to make it to the next feeding. And that includes using a pacifier to kind of just pat his tummy with your hand or offer an emotional toy or blankie, which that really helped. I slept with one of Camden's swaddle blankets, and like for 3 nights in a row, and just so that it would kind of absorb my scent. And I would place it in the crib with him if he was waking at night and crying or anything like that. And after soothing him, I would lay the little blanket next to him or underneath him just so he would smell me, and I feel like that kind of helped too. Also, the shushing sound, that has worked so well for Camden. That has really, it's kind of crazy how it just kind of calms him down. That has been really helpful, and basically just reassuring baby from inside the crib that you're there for him and you're going to help him get through it, you know, just whispering things like, "Mommy's here, it's going to be okay." But she does say at night to just always whisper, not talk, and you don't want to look baby in the eye too much to stimulate him that it's awake time. Basically, you just want to keep him in a slumber-like state at night and let him know that it is bedtime and quiet time. Also, if you have a crib music toy, that might be helpful, or just kind of repositioning baby around to a different direction, or just getting settled in and make sure that he's comfortable. If baby is still not calming down after all those things, that you should go ahead and pick baby up and reassure him that it's okay, and but to only use it sparingly as a last resort. That's where I didn't totally follow the book completely, because I had a really hard time not picking him up if he's crying and nothing else is working. I can't do that. So I would pick him up and just rock him, pat him, things like that to calm him down, and then he would go back down eventually. Something that I found interesting too in the book is that she says, you know, the best time to cuddle and love on your baby is when he's being quiet and cooperative rather than fussy and cranky, because baby's going to learn, oh, if I'm good and quiet, I get attention and love. If I'm fussing, then I don't. So that's kind of, I guess, her reasoning behind it, which I kind of thought was similar to training a dog a little bit. We have 2 boxers, so I kind of saw similarities there, but it's true, you know, so that I always kind of kept in the back of my mind too. Otherwise, it's like you're rewarding negative behavior, basically. Okay, so how to train baby to eat every 4 hours during the day. So this is where we divided our day into 4-hour times of your choosing what works best for you and your family. So we did 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. First feeding of the day, she says to wake baby up about 15 minutes before to get his diaper changed, clothes on, and kind of get him ready for the day, and then go ahead and start the feeding at the start of the designated time that you set. But the first few days, you may have to help baby make it to the time that you originally set. So she says if baby wakes, you know, 1 hour before your designated start time, to go in and offer him a pacifier, and really just use like the nighttime toolbox that I mentioned earlier to help him stretch to that time that you set, if it's within 1 hour. She says if it's over an hour, then it's okay to offer baby a snack, which if you're bottle feeding, you know, express milk or formula, it's best to just do 1 to 2 ounces only as a snack, so that, you know, it'll kind of hold baby over until your designated feed time. So ours was at 8 a.m. If he woke up around 6 a.m., I would go ahead and offer him 1 to 2 ounces only, and that would hold him over until 8 a.m. Even if he didn't go back to sleep, I always try to make it stretch to that 8 a.m. and then give him a full feeding of however much he wanted. But to not give the snack if it's within an hour of his scheduled eating time, and just kind of help him get past it. And there were times that I did have to pick him up and bounce him around and things like that, but just basically I would do anything to get him to that 8 a.m. time. And if he couldn't quite make it, of course, you know, I could tell if things were escalating, then I would go ahead and feed him early. But she says each day that after you offer him the snack, to just naturally kind of help him stretch the time closer to the designated start feed time. And by doing that, she means if baby wakes at 6:15 on day 1 and your target feed time is 8 a.m., go ahead and offer him the snack then. The next day, if he wakes up at 6:15 again, help him stretch it to like 6:30. And then give him the snack to where you get, you know, to where he doesn't have the snack at all if it's within 1 hour, and eventually slowly you'll stretch all the way to the designated start time. And then for the second, third, and fourth feedings of the day, you know, it took a while for us to go from every 3 hours to every 4 hours, but like I said, even, you know, 5, 10, 15 minutes was progress, and I just slowly did it and encouraged him along the way until we eventually got to eating every 4 hours. Also to keep in mind that baby is still eating at least 24 ounces in the 24 hours, but they're just eating more at each feeding rather than less and more frequently. Also, another big thing was to always make sure that it's inviting for baby to be awake during the day. Daytime activities included the playmat activity or gym, different rattles, lots of tummy time, which is very important. So sing along with him and bounce him, dance with him, take him outside, bouncy seat, or even the stroller, go for a walk, anything to make it inviting and stimulating for him to be awake during the day. So once baby's on the eating every 4 hour schedule, it's best to make his most active time between the third and fourth feeding before bed so that he's tired when it's actually bedtime. And then step 2 of the sleep training is to go ahead and gradually eliminate the nighttime feedings. So basically the goal each night is to let baby go as long as he can at night before doing any night feedings. She also says don't change his diaper unless it's poop, which we used the overnight diapers and still do, and those are awesome because he does stay dry the 12 hours. They're pretty loaded in the mornings, but they help for sure. Also, keep the room as dark as possible. A nightlight is okay. Don't make too much eye contact with baby because that does tell him, that you're trying to engage with him, and you do want to keep him in a slumber-like state so that he'll go back to sleep. Also, to be prepared, have food ready to go. If you're breastfeeding, you're good. If not, I would, maybe stock some bottles and formula in the nursery to have it ready to go as soon as possible so that baby isn't full-on scream mode and then wide awake, by the time you get his food ready. So if baby wakes too early at night to feed, try to go ahead and use the nighttime toolbox and help him stretch the time a little bit longer until he needs to eat, unless he is escalating into a full-blown sob fest. So basically how you eliminate the nighttime feedings is she would just gradually reduce the amount of food baby is getting at each night feeding. And she did it in a certain order, which if you're doing the log or your app, you can just go back to the night before, look at how much baby ate that night at that hour, and reduce it by ½ ounce. Or if you're breastfeeding, she says to just reduce it by about 3 minutes or so, which I know totally varies woman to woman, but I guess that's kind of a general guide. So once you reduce the amount, she says to go ahead and use that the new amount that you reduced by ½ ounce for 3 nights in a row, and then on the 4th night go ahead and reduce it by another ½ ounce, and just repeat the process until that feeding is totally eliminated. Then from there, go ahead and do the same thing with the 1st and 3rd feeding of the night. And during the day, make sure that baby is getting in the lost ounces that he was getting at night during the day. So maybe just go ahead and try to encourage him to eat an extra ½ ounce or an extra few minutes of breastfeeding at each feeding during the day. This was the hardest part, I think, was stretching the feedings and eliminating the nighttime feedings. But most importantly, remember that it will happen if you just keep with it, be persistent, and to not go backwards. Always make progress, even if it's by just a couple of minutes. To reduce the chance of your breast milk supply reducing when baby isn't eating at night, she says during the day after baby breastfeeds to go ahead and pump for a while after, just to make sure you keep your milk supply up, which I feel like did help, along with the mother's milk tea that I drank. I felt like that really helped as well. Yes, it was hard with breastfeeding and him not eating anymore at night. I would wake up engorged, but I would just kind of wake up and pump closer to, stretching it out, basically like I did for him, but for myself, as stretching it out to 8 a.m. and eventually my body adjusted and I didn't have to do that anymore. So step 3 was establishing that 12-hour nighttime schedule and the 12-hour daytime schedule. And at night, she does say to develop a bedtime routine, and that I feel like was so helpful because, I think babies like to know what's coming next. I did read that it makes them feel confident in being able to tell what's coming next by getting different signs. So we developed a bedtime routine, which she explains in the book. Basically, each night I'll take him in 30 minutes before his last feed time scheduled, which is 8 p.m. So every night at 7:30, I'll take him into his nursery, close the door, get it quiet, dim the lights, shut the blinds, and we have a crib toy music soother by Baby Einstein, which is so awesome. And he loves it, just plays lullabies. So I'll turn that on, get it relaxed, and lay him down, get him ready for bed. I'll put lotion on him and massage him, change his diaper to the nighttime diaper, and put pajamas on, and then go ahead and maybe read a book, and then start the feeding at the designated time. Or if it's bath night, I'll go ahead and give him a bath before I take him into the nursery, and then do the massage, lotion, pajamas, and all that other good stuff. She also says it's very important to put baby to bed awake in the crib. Basically drowsy is best. That I kind of had a hard time with as well, because I did enjoy rocking him to sleep a lot, but once I did start trying to put him down more in a drowsy state rather than awake, I did feel he eventually caught on and then could fall asleep himself. But basically she says to do that because at night, if baby wakes up, he's not going to rely on you every time to come in and rock him back to sleep. So that kind of teaches him that he can soothe himself and put himself back to sleep and sleep the full 12 hours on his own. And then after feeding the last feeding, I'll go ahead and place him in the crib drowsy, kiss him goodnight, and immediately walk out and shut the door. So she uses a limited crying solution, which she says to not let baby cry more than 3 to 5 minutes in the crib at a time. So if baby would wake up after you've weaned him off all night feedings, fussy or crying, she says to wait for 3 to 5 minutes exactly before going in to help baby calm down. That was also hard. I didn't really follow that exactly either all of the time. I think you know your baby best, and you can tell when you need to go in and help him calm down. Basically, if baby is still crying after the 5 minutes, to go ahead and go in, use the nighttime toolbox to help him calm down again. But if baby does soothe himself before the 5 minutes, then from that time, the next time baby starts fussing, go ahead and start the 3 to 5 minute timer again. But after using the nighttime toolbox, she does just say to make sure you don't make eye contact, help soothe baby from the side of the crib without picking him up, which I didn't always do. And as soon as baby kind of settles, that he'll make a quick inhaling noise, and from that time to go ahead and step out and shut the door. And then from there, wait another 3 to 5 minutes to go back in if he's still crying again. But she says that basically the parent's role is to go in and take it down a notch for baby, but to not fix the problem, so that the baby does learn to self-soothe on his own rather than you fixing it every time for him. Otherwise, he's going to rely on you every time. And then step 4 is sleeping during the day, to go ahead and establish a nap routine of 1 hour nap in the morning and a 2-hour nap in the afternoon. Just kind of observe baby's natural sleep patterns during the day to go ahead and designate those nap times, but she does say that it's important to do it after baby has eaten and had awake or playtime. So usually it's, for me, an hour after he eats. We'll do playtime, and then he'll go down for a nap in the morning and the afternoon. And again, the goal should be no nap time between the 3rd and 4th feeding of the day, and make that his most active time so that he's tired at bedtime. But that's it. That's all that we did, and I feel like as soon as we got him on the 4-hour schedule of eating every day, that really helped. And honestly, I loved having him on a schedule. Everyone is different. I know that there are some that do the feeding on demand and things like that, and whatever works for you. But for me, I loved having him on that schedule, because if I needed to go run errands or be out and about, I knew, okay, I have a couple hours before he's going to be hungry again, so I don't have to pack his food or whatever. I could plan my day once I got him on a schedule of eating every 4 hours, and then his nap time routine, which helped me establish time for myself and for my husband. And honestly, this book has just been amazing, and I'm so glad that I read it, and that my friend told me that it totally worked for her friends and their babies as well. So I've heard great things about it, and each night it's so nice to have that time with my husband once he's in bed. That's kind of our alone time, or whatever we'd like to get done. So anyway, having him on that 4-hour schedule has been so helpful, and it's just made my day so much more predictable as well. But anyway, thank you so much, sweet baby Jesus. This book worked for us, and our baby was sleeping by 12 hours a night by 9 weeks old. So I've been so grateful, and I'm so glad that it worked and we did it. But who knows, the next baby, maybe it won't work. It's not going to work for everyone, I know. There's so many other baby sleep training books out there, but this one definitely did work for us, and I'm so glad we did it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and that you and your baby will be sleeping through the night in no time. And stay tuned for more on Legit Mom Life on Chet's Way. Yeah! Say bye! Say bye! Bye! Say bye!